What happens when the veil between our world and the supernatural one gets thin? Imagine yourself as an ordinary person, living an ordinary life, until one day, the ordinary becomes extraordinary. You begin to notice peculiar incidents taking place within the confines of your home. Objects once left in a particular spot are found in another. The sound of footsteps echo through your hallways, yet no one is there. At first, these occurrences are subtle, easy to dismiss as figments of your imagination. You try to rationalize, to find a logical explanation. Perhaps it's just forgetfulness, or maybe the house is settling. But no matter how hard you try, the answers elude you. The misplaced objects, the unexplained noises, they continue to persist, growing in intensity. Your world, once familiar, now feels strange and unsettling. The line between reality and the supernatural blurs, and you find yourself teetering on the edge of fear. The inexplicable events continue to escalate, leaving the protagonist on the edge of fear. When the eerie events escalated, the protagonist decided it was time to dig deeper. This wasn't just about strange noises in the night anymore, or objects inexplicably moving from their place. The very air around the house seemed to hum with an unseen energy, chilling the spine and whispering of hidden secrets. Seeking answers, they turned to a local historian, an elderly woman known for her vast knowledge of the town's past. As they sat in her dust-filled study, surrounded by towers of yellowed books and faded photographs, the protagonists shared their experiences. They could see the historian's eyes grow wide with a mix of shock and fascination. The historian went on to reveal a haunting truth. The protagonist's home, a charming Victorian-era house, stood on an old burial ground. The land had once been a final resting place for souls long departed, their bodies laid to rest beneath the earth. But as the town expanded, the old cemetery was forgotten, and the house was built upon it. And it didn't end there. The historian shared spine-chilling tales of past residents who had faced similar experiences. There were stories of ghostly apparitions, of whispers in the dark, of unseen hands moving things around. Each story seemed to echo the protagonist's own experiences, adding layers to their growing fear. The historian's words hung in the air like a shroud, wrapping the protagonist in a cold realization. They weren't alone in their home. They shared their space with invisible inhabitants, echoes of the past unwilling or perhaps unable to move on. The protagonist left the historian's house with a heavy heart, the evening shadows seeming darker than before. The house that once felt like a sanctuary now bore the weight of its tragic past, a past that refused to stay buried. Armed with this knowledge, the protagonist felt a sense of dread, yet a drive to uncover the truth. The house was no longer just a house, it was a mystery, a puzzle that needed solving, and they were determined to find the answers, no matter how terrifying they might be. With fear and determination in their heart, the protagonist decided to confront the unseen entity. Armed with sage and salt, symbols of purification and protection, they began their attempt to cleanse their home of the spectral presence. The air around them grew colder, a chill that seeped into their very bones. It was as if the very walls of the house were breathing, exhaling an icy dread that filled the room. The protagonist moved through each room, scattering salt in the corners and burning sage to drive away the unseen. Each step was a battle, a test of their resolve. Whispers seemed to echo around them, indecipherable but unmistakably present. It was an eerie symphony of the paranormal, a testament to the unseen entity's existence. Yet, despite the terror, the protagonist pushed through, completing the cleansing ritual with trembling hands. They were left with a silence that was both comforting and unsettling. Exhausted but hopeful, the protagonist waited to see if peace would finally return. In the hushed silence after the confrontation, the protagonist wondered if they had succeeded. As dawn's first light painted the sky, they woke up to a house that was eerily quiet. The once familiar walls echoed with an unsettling silence, a stark contrast to the previous night's haunting disturbances. The peculiar happenings that once filled the air with a tangible dread seemed to have ceased. The flickering lights, the mysterious whispers, the unexplainable chill, all had retreated into the shadows. Yet, the chilling memories of the confrontation lingered, casting long, dark shadows in their wake. Our protagonist was left alone, wrestling with their thoughts, wondering if they had truly vanquished the entity, or if it was merely biding its time, waiting to strike again. The line between reality and the supernatural had been blurred, leaving them in a state of constant uncertainty. Only time will tell if the protagonist has truly escaped the grip of the supernatural. But one thing is for certain, they will never be the same again.